take the hit, take the hit, take the hit. Welcome back to FPL Take The Hit. You're here with Mick and Joff. Today we are doing our FPL Advantage series, little tutorial series we've got going on. We're going to kick it off with the first half of the season wildcard. Mate, it is the most important chip that you have at your disposal in the Fantasy Premier League, Joff. I can't understate that enough.
Yeah, it's a great call. It's so important. It's so important to get it right. And we're going to basically go through all the right musings and how to use it best in the first half of the season.
That's it, mate. I mean, we'll kick it off. So I think the best place to start is when to use it in the first part of the season. Now, for me, there's no real right or wrong answer to that. I think there is a case for holding onto it for too long, and it kind of loses its value the longer you hold onto it too. But at the same time, if you use it early doors, you can kind of blow it a little bit too early as well. So you kind of got to find that little sweet spot where it kind of just feels right to hit that button and bring in some form value kind of players.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, obviously, form plays are very important. Like you could have 3 or 4 early in the season that you really want to get in. Hit the button, get them in, and there could be some really value picks that are jumping in price that you can kind of see they're going to be season keepers. You were looking at them before the start of the season, that kind of thing. It's very important to kind of justify and be like, you know what, I'm going to hit that button now and make it work out.
That's it. I mean, you can always, if you have a really bad start to the season and you've made a whole bunch of terrible mistakes and you brought in the wrong players, you can hit that button as early as game week 2 just to readjust your team and bring in all those players that you missed out on, that some starters maybe you missed out on, or all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of players that hit form and you just don't have them in game week 1. But you can obviously, as much as I say that, for me, if it's my own personal opinion, is you hold that wild card button for at least 4 game weeks. Now, the reason I say that, Joff, you know what I'm all like about stats and data. You want to have that data.
Yeah.
You want to have those stats involved so you can see how the teams are looking, how the players are looking before you hit that button, and you commit to those teams. For basically the first 20 game weeks of the season, you're stuck with those players, minus free transfers, obviously.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And I think it's good because you look at more of the analytics as well, and I look at more of the eye test. So I kind of, the first 4 game weeks, you get a good understanding of who's getting in the box, who's getting forward, who's getting some shots, that kind of thing as well. So you're watching the games, you're watching the highlights, and you're a bit more aware of who's in the advanced positions and who's going to start. So I think it's a really good way to put it. Within the first 4 game weeks is actually a really good time to use it. But again, maybe you've got a really strong start and you've had a really good good beginning to the season. You don't really need to use it immediately, so you can hold it. And one thing what we want to bring it up is obviously like what you said. Don't just use it for the sake of it. Even like for the international break, for example, like a lot of people actually talk about it a bit more. You're good at explaining this one.
There's a bit of a fallacy that goes around that you can catch price rises in the international break because there's an extra week of price rises and reductions. Now, this is something that did actually happen. We've been playing this game, my brother and I, for 13 years now. So this is something I used to actually cash in on back in the day. But that doesn't happen anymore. FPL Towers are wise to it now. FPL Towers, they manipulate the price system. It's ridiculous. I mean, they know how this game works now. They've figured it out. So they must cap it or something over the international break. So players, they're only going to go up 0.3 anyway. That's the max they can go up. So you're going to get a 0.1 rise on a player. It's not worth it. I personally think international break wildcards is a bad idea because you got too much time, A, to think about your moves, and B, injuries. You're going to get phantom injuries. You're going to get managers not letting their players go away on international break because they have an injury, that maybe they don't have an injury.
Exactly.
You just don't know anymore. There's not enough truth in the game, in these managers, to know whether or not the injury is real or fake. So personally for me, I stay away from international wildcard breaks.
Yeah, no, well said. I think that's perfectly said. It's going to explain this to a lot of FPL beginners, even experienced people, because it's something that we kind of read into things a bit too seriously. You're like, oh, he's injured, I'm not going to bring him in, whereas he could be a great player to have. But yeah, moving on to another one as well, just with basically a big hit. Like some people will say, oh, what about if I'm going to take a negative 12? Sure, I just basically hit the button. And look, negative 12 is it's a big hit. It probably does warrant it, to be honest. But just one of those things where if you're taking a negative 8, sometimes you got 2 freebies, you're going to make 4 moves and take a negative 8. It's a good way to have a bit of a plan, and you don't need to use it, kind of a thing. So it's just one of those areas where Yeah, just being careful and not just pressing the button willy-nilly.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you're going to make wholesale changes where you're going to be, shaping up and, taking a -12, even a -16 hit, then you hit that button.
Yeah.
You don't take those kind of hits. There's no need because, I mean, obviously your team needs some work. It needs some
Yeah.
love. Hit that button. You're going to get all that love you need. You don't need to
Exactly.
lose 12, 16 points to do it. And just on saying that, when you are going to take these big hits and when you are going to use that wild card button, you want to bring in value players. I cannot understate that enough as well. Value in this game is super important, and the best advantage of using a wild card early in the early season is to bring in value players,
Yeah.
because a lot of players are going to fly under the radar, and they're gonna pop up that you're not going to know, and it's simply because we can't know everything. As much as there's a ton of information out there right now, and a lot of people like us that put out all this content for you guys, for you managers, we're still going to miss things. There's still things that are still going to slip under the rug, and those players that do slip under the rug, you can bring them in with your first wild card.
Yeah, totally agree, Mick.
All right, beautiful, mate. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. We're going to be bringing out a whole bunch more of these FPL Advantage videos, just a tutorial series we're going to create just to help all you beginning FPL managers out there, even people that have been playing this game a fair bit. It's just our different thoughts on a lot of the key points of playing this game,
Yeah.
and a lot of stuff a lot of our wisdom that we have learned over playing this game for 13 bloody years. So watch out for them. They will be in the descriptions down below and all the comments. So watch out for all those videos down there. If you do enjoy what we do and you want to give us some support, head over to Patreon/FPL Take The Hit, where you can jump in there and give us some support, guys.
Thank you.
As we say at FPL Take The Hit, always remember to stay positive.
Keep chasing them green arrows, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Take the hit.